Welcome friends, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are talking portfolios. Portfolio. The portfolio is a UX designer's bread and butter, and I'm gonna show you my portfolio and how it got me my job. So let's get into it. So I went through Springboard's bootcamp. By the way, there's a link down in the description box to get $750 off whatever course you wanna do, so don't miss that link. As you were kind of working through the bootcamp, you had case studies. As I went through every project, there was a case study that you had to create at the end of the project. Some people just created like a PowerPoint, PDF document kind of showing like the whole step of the process of the case study. I actually went and built it out on my portfolio website because I knew I didn't want to, like, at the end of my bootcamp, go back and finish all 4 out. Like, I knew that was going to be ridiculous. So I totally recommend building out your portfolio as you go, just because it's all fresh in your brain, and by the time you've completed your bootcamp, you can really look back and be like, ooh, I could do this better, I'm not sure about this. So try to keep that in mind. In terms of websites, I hosted mine on uxfolio.com. I'll drop a link for it in the description box. And I went with UXfolio. I'd never heard of them before until my UX design mentor mentioned it to me. And I see why he mentioned it, because it's kind of built for UX case studies in terms of the framework. I'll show you what I mean. But it's kind of built for that in the way that it's set up. So that's the reason I went with that. Other ones that you could do are Squarespace, Wix. You can, code your own website if you know how to do that. I don't know how to do that, but there are some other options out there. So maybe kind of play around and see which one works best. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty and I will show you my portfolio. So this is the homepage of my portfolio. So the landing page is the list of all my projects. I really tried to keep it simple and minimal. There's very minimal text. Here, let me move myself. You've got the photo of me, a small blurb, and then over here is where actually the navigation menu is. So like work is actually just this page to all of my projects. About takes you to a little bit about me. And then resume is a downloadable PDF like link to it. And then LinkedIn takes you directly to my LinkedIn. So I kept it super simple. I like it clean, minimal, sleek. And then here are just my 4 different projects. And here I definitely took inspiration from like Apple, I would say, because they're very good about having like clean white spaces. Like everything that they kind of do is that really minimal look. And so I really wanted to incorporate that into my portfolio and really have just the images and these like selected mock-ups be the focus. So that's why there's like no text, there's nothing when you hover over anything. It's just really focusing on the images. And I just felt that it was a little bit more striking and it gets you straight to the meat, so to speak, of what I'm showing. So, okay, where do I want to go first? Let's touch in the about really quick. So let's go to the about me. And so here is just like a little blurb about myself, my background. I was an interior designer, some things like skills that I learned in terms of problem solving, creating aesthetic spaces, and how I'm using that now to shift into a different role. And then here is just a little bit of blurb about me, like living in Denver, foodie, love trashy TV, and then, a cute picture of me, my dog, my boyfriend. So, and actually, during one of my interviews, the product manager that I was interviewing with, she asked me, she's like, okay, what's the name of this cute dog in the photo? And I was like, girl, I could talk about him all day. So it was nice that they like saw, first of all, they actually looked at it. It's not very long, like this is not overwhelming at all, this blurb. And then something, that's kind of personal, she remembered that I had a dog, and asked me about it. So it's just something else that kind of like makes the interview process a little bit more personal. So if you can throw anything like that in, I think you're definitely helping your cause. Let's go to the work. And I'm not going to bore you by going through every one of these, but let's do this one here. So this was my very first project coming through Springboard. Again, link down in the description. And the project, was my first project. And so this one definitely took the longest. It probably took like the first 5 months or so of the whole boot camp, just because you're learning all of the principles in the design process as you're building this. So here is the name. It's called Savvy, and this app is all about helping you save money and budget while also throwing in some financial literacy as well. So I I put in a few mock-ups, you know, that were kind of punchy at the top. Okay, let me move myself again. And so here is what now that I've, finished the project, it's kind of like the overall mission statement of like, what is this product? What is this company? Like a saving and financial literacy app whose mission is to provide the tools to learn, save, and prosper, kind of the thing. Okay, and so here I kind of break it down by first starting off with the problem, and I also kind of bolded the areas that I wanted them to focus on. So like this initially came up from, let's say you're wanting to buy a house and you don't know where to start. You don't have the knowledge of where to start. You're living paycheck to paycheck. You want to learn how to do it. So it's kind of bred from this, a few of the problem statements. I loved putting in visuals. I hate, obviously, as designers, we like visuals. And I didn't want to feel so text heavy because there is a lot of text in all of this, as you'll see. So I like to include a fun visual here. And then here is kind of quick overview of the project. So, oh wow, 7 months is how long it took me. Yeah, it's a big chunk of it. 7 months, 3 iterations, number of screens. So like just kind of a fun overview of that. And then in terms of tools, this is everything that I use to design, to test, to iterate, all of this here. Okay, and so here is kind of where it's really broken down into the design process. The research, define, ideate, design, and test. Okay, so I'll run through this kind of quickly. I don't want to bore you guys, but okay. Overall research is kind of what I'm starting with here. Okay, like one research tool I did was competitive analysis. So there's tons of apps like this. So I was kind of focusing on a couple of them, Capital, Bright Money, Empower, and like what they do well, what they could improve on is what I've got going on here. And now that I look at this, guys, it's funny. Like I finished this like probably almost over a year ago, and there's a lot of things that I would change now, but whatever. This is where I was at then. Okay, and then secondary research, I was looking at some stats to kind of help guide of like how big of a problem is this and like what is some of the data that kind of backs it up. And then some quant analysis. This was actually information that I got from interviewing users, so it's also down here a little bit. I reached out to people in the certain age group that I was testing to kind of get their thoughts on like this problem and really try to understand like how do they manage their money. Okay, and then just some like quick insights that I took, like quotes from people of like every tiny thing adds up. Paying for life doesn't leave a ton left over to save. There's not been a whole lot of financial literacy in my family. So these insights are things that I took to kind of help propel my design and really put that user as the focus. Okay, research analysis. So this was just kind of my affinity map of like I took in Miro, I did this. I took just the sticky notes of what I had heard and kind of grouped it into different categories here. Okay, define. Can I make this bigger for you guys? Yeah, I can. Okay. Define, I just did an empathy map here and then created some personas to kind of get a better sense of like who I'm designing for, really understand that initiative persona. You've got Frugal Finn here, who's good with his money, and then you got Social Scarlet, who's still learning what to do. So personas here, Ideate. So this is where I brought in my how might we. So how might we design a product that makes saving efficient and improve financial literacy was really kind of the MVP that I was designing, keeping this the focus. Trying to include these things, but also thinking about like next release of like what would I have included, like community aspect, maybe having like an accountability partner. So just kind of thinking of next steps, but definitely focusing on here, the MVP. Okay, so right now, this is the user flow of kind of just like that sign up flow of like sign up, details, dashboard, and then existing user flow. A little bit different, but kind of similar goal. Okay, so sketches, in my mind, sketches are still considered low fidelity. So here's where I really got out like, kind of some of my initial ideas of like very loose screens of like what that would look like. the logo, maybe some onboarding questions they'd be asked, what the dashboard view might look like, what the little icons could be. It's very loose, but I love getting my ideas down on paper. And then with these low fidelity, I then did some guerrilla testing just to gain some initial feedback. And then here is my low fidelity screens. Let's see. Wish I could click through some of these, but okay. All of this is low fidelity, all done in Figma. And the point of low fidelity is that you want to get your idea across, but you don't want to dedicate too much time to making it high fidelity because it is going to change. Like, it will change. So don't get married to like the colors or anything right now. Low fidelity right now, just so you can get a sense of like, does this work? Does this button look right? Does this text make sense? Is this intuitive to click here? So that is the point of low fidelity. Okay, style guide. I love creating style guides. I do. Kind of goes over like the brand name savvy is a play on the word save, the mission statement, the brand personality. Here's where I put in the color palette, the design elements, like buttons, forms, icon style, font is the San Francisco Pro, like little fun illustration, vector graphics like that. And then created like a pretty simple mood board of kind of the energy, the feeling of what I was going with. Definitely targeting like younger millennials, wanted to keep it fun, have that gamification aspect in it. Fun colors was definitely the goal. And then iterated on that, and then I got to my high fidelity screens. You know, just kind of showing like what this looks like now that it's been fleshed out. You add the colors, you add all the correct font sizes, you fill it in here. Yeah, it's always fun when it comes to like, when it gets to this point, it's pretty exciting. Like, you iterate a lot and it goes far, but you do finally get to a cool outcome. So it's always fun to look at that. And then here I actually have my clickable prototype that has not been edited in 9 months. Wow, guys. Okay. Fun. Oh my gosh, guys. I haven't looked at this in a while. Oh, that's so cool. It's very satisfying. Man, I haven't played with this in a while, so I'm like, which one do I click again? Okay, I won't bore you with this. All right. And then after having high fidelity, I did more usability testing where the users actually got to test this clickable prototype. And then from that testing, like one example of how I made some changes was that this was my initial screen. This was the second version after some testing. Like I went in and added specifically like the dates, date range here, and then here I even add a little bit more information. And so I made these changes based on feedback that I learned, and it was valid feedback in my opinion. So that's why I kind of kept iterating on it and how it got to that final screen. Okay, so final thoughts, then I include what I've learned, any next steps, any other iterations I would take, and yeah, then I put in a little thank you for checking out my work. And that's it, guys. Okay, guys, that is the portfolio review. Good luck on your case study and your portfolios. Please let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.